Did you know that the holiday season, as we know it today, has roots in a Roman celebration so chaotic it almost threatened the very order of the empire? Picture a Christmas where servants became kings for a day, giving orders to their masters, and even human sacrifices were once part of the festivities. A Christmas where social order was turned upside down, chaos ruled, and laughter could quickly turn to fear. That was the spirit of Saturnalia in ancient Rome. Today, Christmas is synonymous with peace and unity. But for the Romans, the winter solstice marked days of disorder, indulgence, and a complete reversal of social roles. And the most surprising part? Many of these traditions have survived the test of time, shaping what we now call the holiday spirit. But what would have happened if these celebrations had been completely banned? Behind the lavish feasts and symbolic gifts lay a powerful message of resistance to the monotony of Roman life, something that connected all classes, even if only briefly. And believe it or not, the history of these celebrations might just change the way you see modern Christmas. How did these wild and chaotic festivities influence such iconic traditions as gift-giving? And why were the Romans both fascinated and terrified by Saturnalia? Today, we'll uncover the secrets of Rome's first Christmas. You'll discover how Saturnalia was much more than just a celebration. It had the power to unite a complex society like Rome, if only for a few days. And if these celebrations hadn't taken place, would we even have the Christmas we know today? In today's video, we'll dive into how Saturnalia turned Rome into a society of extremes. On one side, feasts and celebrations that shattered every social rule. On the other, controlled chaos that tested the limits of the empire's order. We'll explore the origins of this subversive tradition, its most striking practices, some as macabre as they are fascinating, and how they shaped the modern Christmas we celebrate today. Get ready to learn why these festivities were feared, loved, and above all, essential to the Romans. If you're passionate about history and want to uncover how Rome continues to shape our world today, subscribe to the channel now. Here, you'll find daily videos packed with fascinating insights and strategies that change the course of humanity. And don't forget to leave a like. It's crucial for helping more people discover these incredible stories and for us to keep bringing epic content every single day. Let's dive into the history of Rome together like never before. In ancient Rome, the winter solstice marked a pivotal moment when the longest night began to recede, giving way to gradually longer days. This celestial turning point was imbued with spiritual significance, symbolizing renewal and abundance. For the Romans, it was more than a natural phenomenon. It was a divine signal from Saturn, the god of agriculture and plenty, to commence a time of joy and indulgence. The temples dedicated to Saturn became the epicenter of the festivities, where offerings and sacrifices were made to honor the god's benevolence. These rituals were not only religious, but also symbolic acts meant to invite prosperity for the coming year. At the heart of Saturnalia's inception was the idea of liberation, both spiritual and societal. The temple ceremonies were followed by public celebrations, where a symbolic rope binding the feet of Saturn's statue was ceremonially loosened. This act represented the loosening of societal constraints and heralded a time of unparalleled freedom. Citizens of every social class gathered in joyous harmony to chant hymns, exchange good wishes, and prepare for days of feasting and revelry. This temporary suspension of normal life offered a tantalizing glimpse of an idealized world where abundance reigned and hardships were forgotten. As the celebrations spilled from the temples into the streets, the rigid structures of Roman life began to dissolve. Saturnalia was not just a celebration of abundance, but also a deliberate reversal of societal norms. The upper and lower classes mingled, laughing and drinking as equals, while the city transformed into a chaotic and vibrant carnival. This inversion of roles and abandonment of decorum created a unique space for people to connect, laugh, and even critique the rigid hierarchies that usually define their lives. But this was only the beginning of the disruptions to come. The rituals, while joyous, also carried undertones of unease. Saturnalia's liberation came with the implicit reminder of the constraints that would return when the festival ended. This tension, woven into the celebrations, became a way for the Roman elite to maintain control while offering the illusion of freedom. It was a release valve, carefully calibrated to ensure the masses felt seen without threatening the established order. But how far could this reversal go? And what happened when the boundaries between chaos and control were tested? During Saturnalia, the social order of ancient Rome was turned on its head in ways that were as exhilarating as they were unsettling. For a brief and extraordinary time, slaves were granted an unprecedented level of freedom. They dined with their masters at the same table, issued playful commands, and even openly mocked those who wielded power over them every other day of the year. This ritualistic inversion of roles was not only a moment of catharsis for the enslaved, but also a profound, if fleeting, commentary on the fragility of social hierarchies. In the Roman household, the master-slave relationship was a cornerstone of daily life. Saturnalia disrupted this balance in ways that could be both liberating and dangerous. Masters indulged the mock reigns of their slaves, offering them food, wine, and laughter without fear of retribution. But beneath the levity lay a subtle power dynamic. The slaves' temporary freedom underscored their usual subjugation. These celebrations offered a bittersweet taste of a life they could never fully claim as their own. The role reversals extended beyond individual households and into the broader society. In public spaces, Saturnalia brought people of all statuses together in games, songs, and feasts. The boundaries of decorum blurred as slaves danced alongside senators and plebeians toasted with patricians. The streets became a chaotic theater where social rules were suspended, and everyone could momentarily escape their assigned roles. But was this freedom genuine, or was it a calculated illusion meant to pacify dissent? The revelry often carried a darker edge. Stories circulated of slaves who used their fleeting empowerment to expose the hypocrisy and cruelty of their masters, sometimes to disastrous results. The tension between liberation and control became palpable, as even the masters found themselves vulnerable under this temporary upheaval. Could these inversions, meant to foster unity, actually sow the seeds of rebellion? Or did the very structure of Saturnalia ensure that such chaos remained contained? As Saturnalia continued, the line between celebration and anarchy became increasingly precarious. What strategies did Roman elites employ to manage the potential dangers of these role reversals? And how did the controlled chaos of Saturnalia serve the greater stability of the empire? While Saturnalia appeared to be a time of unbridled freedom and disorder, it was anything but random. Beneath the surface of the revelry lay a meticulously orchestrated system that served to maintain social stability. Roman elites, ever mindful of the fragility of their power, allowed and even encouraged the chaos of Saturnalia as a form of controlled release. By giving the masses a temporary escape from their daily struggles, they ensured the return of order once the celebrations ended. But this strategy was not without its risks. The chaos of Saturnalia was carefully contained within predefined boundaries. Certain customs, such as the election of a king of Saturnalia, exemplified this balance. This mock leader, often a slave or lower-class citizen, was given license to issue absurd commands that others had to follow. While it seemed like a humorous break from reality, this tradition reinforced the temporary nature of the inversion. The king's rule lasted only as long as the festival, a stark reminder of the impermanence of such freedoms. Public spectacles also played a crucial role in directing the energy of the festivities. Gladiatorial games, theatrical performances, and communal feasts provided outlets for both physical and emotional expression. These events allowed the populace to release their frustrations in ways that were both entertaining and socially acceptable. However, the lines between entertainment and subversion were thin. The violent nature of some spectacles raised questions about whether these events were merely distractions or reflections of deeper societal tensions. Despite the orchestrated nature of Saturnalia, there were instances where the celebrations pushed the limits of control. Historical records mention occasions when riots broke out, fueled by excessive drinking or unresolved grievances brought to light during the role reversals. These moments of near rebellion revealed the fine line between sanctioned chaos and genuine anarchy. The Roman authorities monitored the festivities closely, ready to intervene if the balance tipped too far. But how did this delicate equilibrium shape the empire's future? As Saturnalia concluded, its influence lingered in the hearts and minds of its participants. What lessons did the Roman elite draw from this dance between chaos and order? And how did these traditions evolve into something far more enduring and universal in the centuries to come? Long after the fall of Rome, the echoes of Saturnalia persisted in unexpected ways. As Christianity rose to prominence and became the dominant religion of the empire, many pagan traditions were reimagined rather than eradicated. The Church recognized the power of Saturnalia's themes: community, generosity, and renewal, and wove them into the fabric of Christmas celebrations. But how did a festival of excess and chaos transform into a symbol of peace and reverence? One of the most direct influences was the tradition of gift-giving. During Saturnalia, Romans exchanged small tokens, such as wax candles and figurines, to symbolize light and hope during the darkest days of winter. This practice seamlessly transitioned into the Christian holiday, where it became a gesture of goodwill among family and friends. Similarly, the communal feasts and vibrant decorations of Saturnalia found their parallels in Christmas banquets and festive ornaments, connecting the two celebrations across centuries. The subversion of roles during Saturnalia also left its mark, albeit in subtler ways. The spirit of humility and equality, even if temporary in Roman times, resonated with the Christian ideals of compassion and charity. Stories of masters serving their slaves during Saturnalia evolved into narratives of unity and kindness that now define the holiday season. Yet, the traces of the festival's chaotic origins remain visible in traditions like carnival celebrations and mischievous holiday pranks. However, not all aspects of Saturnalia were easily reconciled with Christian doctrine. The festival's association with indulgence and irreverence posed challenges for a religion that valued discipline and sanctity. Over time, these elements were subdued or rebranded, ensuring that Christmas retained its distinct identity while still drawing from its pagan predecessor. This delicate balance highlights the adaptability of cultural traditions in the face of changing values and beliefs. As Saturnalia's spirit became entwined with Christmas, a profound question arises. To what extent do modern traditions still carry the essence of ancient Rome? And what does this continuity reveal about humanity's enduring need to celebrate, connect, and redefine the world through ritual?